Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Wednesday, October 3rd, 2018. Today I'm going to recap last night's fantastic wildcard game in the National League between the Rockies and the Cubs from Wrigley Field. I'm going to preview and pick tonight's American League wildcard game from the Bronx as the Yankees play host to the Athletics. Then I'll look through the NHL slate tonight. The season begins tonight, and then I'll pick the NBCSN doubleheader, and I'll do my NBA point guard rankings as I begin the NBA season preview for 2018-2019. Here we go. The Rockies defeat the Cubs 2-1, 13 innings. What a game this was. So many mistakes by the Rockies that they got away with in this game. I thought that the umpiring was not very good. I think Joe Maddon did some right and some wrong in the game. The some right is if the Cole Hamels thing, pitching him for 2 innings, I thought that was smart. And I don't blame him for putting Kyle Hendricks in because you got to win that game and you don't trust your bullpen. Why not go with your starters? Why not? And plus, it's an extra inning game. 2 innings out of Hamels was smart, but the Cubs just couldn't get it done offensively. Scott Ober gets the win. He closed out the game for the Rockies, too. Kyle Hendricks with the loss. Top of the first inning, sacrifice fly by Nolan Arenado scores in Charlie Blackmon as DJ LeMahieu goes to third. 1-0 Rockies. It was 1-0 until the bottom of the eighth. RBI double by Javier Baez. Terrence Gore was pinched run for Anthony Rizzo, and he scores the tying run to tie it up at 1 apiece. And then in the top of the 13th inning, the go-ahead RBI single by Tony Walters gives the Rockies a 2-1 lead. This was just a very fun game to watch. And now the Rockies move on to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm going to do my picks for the NLDS on tomorrow's podcast. That is going to be a great series, I think. These two teams had close games throughout the year. The Brewers had a couple comebacks on the Rockies this year, ironically enough. And then for the Cubs, let's face it, this season's a disappointment for them. They didn't win their division. They had to host a wild card game, and they lose to a team that you would think that they're not worse than, at least. And now the question is Joe Maddon back as manager? There's a lot of speculation that he's going to be let go. He has 1 year left on his contract. Wouldn't be shocked if there's an announcement made within the next day or two. Paul Molitor was fired from the Twins yesterday. They're interviewing candidates like Brad Mills, Brad Ausmus, and Joe Girardi. And the Reds are interviewing those guys as well. So I'm interested to see who ends up getting those jobs. Unfortunately for Jim Riggleman, that he couldn't get the intern tag removed. And then back to the Cubs. If they were to fire Maddon, I wonder if Joe Girardi would be in play here because don't forget in 2013 the Cubs went all in on Joe Girardi. They tried to give him a lot of money, but at the time they weren't close to a championship, although they were a few years away at the time, and then Girardi decided to stay with the Yankees, and he ended up staying with the Yankees for 4 more years, made the playoffs 2 out of the 4 years that he came back to the Yankees for on the 4-year contract, and the Yankees ended up firing him after last season. And speaking of managers getting fired, breaking news, Buck Showalter out as Orioles manager. This was expected. The Orioles lost 115 games, the most in franchise history. Showalter had a good run with the Orioles, and time it's run its course. He did a great job there, in my opinion, turning that franchise around for those few years, unexpectedly making the playoffs as the second wild card in 2012. And then they upset the Rangers, and they lost in 5 to the Yankees. The Yankees were a much better team than the Orioles at the time, although that Yankees team was getting a little bit older. And Showalter deserves a lot of credit. And then 2013, they missed out on the postseason. 2014, they won the American League East. 2015, they missed out. 2016, They made it as a wild card, the second wild card, and don't forget that was when he failed to use Zach Britton in that game, and that ultimately cost them the game and a chance to advance in the postseason. And last year they won 75 games, and then this disastrous season happened. They trade Manny Machado, and I'm curious to see what's next for the Orioles. They're probably going to be the worst team in baseball next season. And obviously with Madden, I'm very fascinated to see what happens because there's the thought of Joe Girardi possibly getting that job in the future and whatnot. The American League wildcard game is tonight between the Athletics and the Yankees. 8 o'clock, TBS, Yankee Stadium. I believe on the call is going to be Brian Anderson, Ron Darling, and Dennis Eckersley. So it's going to be a good game. Good for Brian Anderson getting the call of this game. I think he's one of the better announcers in the league. When I did my baseball announcer rankings, I had him pretty high because I think he's done a great job with the Brewers and on the national side as well. And I really think tonight's fascinating because obviously if the Yankees win, they move on to face Boston. And if Oakland wins, you have an underdog that nobody's going to believe in. And that's always the fun story, that the unexpected team ends up going far in the playoffs and further you think. And that applies for the Rockies right now, too. So, tonight's game, the A's are going to go with Liam Hendricks as their quote-unquote opener. And then they'll roll it over to their bullpen, which features the likes of Lou Trevino, Fernando Roddy, Reyes Familia, and shutdown closer Blake Trinan, who I think has been the best closer in the game. Trinan reminds me so much of Zach Britton. The Yankees are starting Luis Severino, who's been bad in the second half of the season after looking like the Cy Young favorite the first few months of the year. They could have started Jay Happ, who's been awesome in the second half of the season as a trade acquisition, or Masahiro Tanaka, who's pitched well in big spots in the past. It looks like Severino will have a short leash again, like he did last year, and then they'll go to their pen. That's the best in the game, led by Chad Green, David Robertson, Dylan Betances, Zach Brandon, and Aroldis Chapman. And believe it or not, Tanaka and Happ are both on the roster, and they can use one of those guys potentially if Severino flames out early, or if this game goes to extra innings, like Joe Madden did with using some of his starters out of the bullpen, and I thought that was wise. And with the A's, offensively, you have the likes of Chris Davis, Matt Chapman, and Matt Olson on offense, who've all had great years this year. I think they're their best three offensive players. Jonathan Lucroy is somebody that's played in big games in his life, but he's a player that's on the decline. The Yankees lineup has mashed at Yankee Stadium this year. Their offense is among the best in the game, probably the second best offense in the game behind the Red Sox, led by Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Didi Gregorius, Miguel Andujar, and Gleyber Torres. Gary Sanchez is somebody that's had a very bad year, but hey, maybe turning the page to the postseason, maybe he'll hit better, although his defense will remain suspect. But the difference in this game is Yankee Stadium and that crowd and the Yankees' offensive depth, which Oakland, to me, really doesn't have. And don't forget the fact that the A's roster as a whole lack big game experience. So let's go with the Yankees here to win this game and to move on to face on their arch rival, Boston Red Sox, which is going to be a phenomenal series. Yankees 7, Athletics 3. And the Athletics with big game experience. Reyes Familia with the Mets, but let's face it, he's failed in so many big games as a member of the Mets. Although he got some big saves against the Dodgers in 2015, but he cost them 3 World Series games. He cost them the wild card game against the Giants in 2016. Lou Trevino's never pitched in a big game in his life. Neither is Trinan, to be fair. Fernando Rodney's been in big games, but he, like Familia, has faltered in those spots. So I'm very fascinated to see how this game goes. And if you're Oakland, if you have a lead, you better hold your breath until you get to Trinan. Because I don't trust Familia or Rodney getting big outs in Yankee Stadium against that lineup. So, there you go. Yankees win tonight and move on to face Boston. Tonight starts the National Hockey League. I did my predictions on a special podcast yesterday that went up. For those of you that follow me on Twitter at MadisonMills28, I'm going to reshare the Hockey Predictions podcast within the next couple minutes, along with this one, obviously. So tonight's hockey slate, you have the Canadiens at the Maple Leafs. The Canadiens are rebuilding. The Maple Leafs are a team that should be contending. And then 7:30 on NBCSN, you have the Bruins at the Capitals. The Capitals raising their Stanley Cup banner. That game is always fun to watch when the champs raise the banner. Since it's a national game, I'll pick it. And I think the Caps have a little bit of a hangover. I'm going to say the Bruins win, and not only do they win, I think this goes to a shootout. So I could totally see like a 2-1, 3-2 Boston Bruins victory. And I think the Caps will show up, but I could see Boston stealing it on the road. So the Bruins are the pick there. Flames Canucks at 10 o'clock. The Flames and Canucks are both rebuilding, although I think the Flames are closer to contention than the Canucks. I think there's a chance the Flames make the playoffs. New head coach Billy Peters made some changes on the roster that I think betters them not only for this year but for the future. And then the back end of the doubleheader, 10:30 on NBCSN, the Ducks and the Sharks. And the Ducks are a team people think are going to take a step back this year. I think they're still a playoff team in the Western Conference. They have some injuries that they're dealing with on offense, but I think the strength of this team is their defense and John Gibson in net. The Sharks are a team that I think has a real chance of winning the Stanley Cup. That was actually my pick to win the Cup. They added Erik Karlsson to go with Brent Burns and Mark-Edouard Vlasic on defense. Their offense is still very good. Evander Kane in a full season with San Jose. And then you have Joe Pavelski, Logan Couture, Timo Meier, who I think is a breakout player in this league. And you also have Joe Thornton, who's getting up there in age. And I like San Jose to open the season with the victory at home. That crowd's going to be fired up. That's one of the better home ice advantages in hockey. So give me San Jose. I'm going to say 4-2, and I think the last goal is an empty netter. I think this team is going to be very, very good. Now I'm going to do my NBA point guard rankings prior to the season. Tomorrow I'll be doing shooting guards. Friday I'll be doing small forwards. Saturday power forwards. Sunday centers. And then sometime next week I'll do the top 100 players. 102 point guards on this list. Some of them might not even make their teams and get released, and others might be in the G League. I'm going to go from 102 to 1. The first, I'd say, maybe 45 guys might not even be starters, but some of them will be because the teams have such weak spots at point guard. 102, Markel Crawford, Grizzlies. 101, Briante Weber, Heat. 100, Donald Sloan, Nuggets. 99, Kadeem Allen, Knicks. 98, Derek Walton Jr., Bulls. 97, Shaquille Thompson, Suns. 96, Lorenzo Brown, Raptors. 95, Will Cherry, Warriors. 94, Isaac Bonga, Lakers. 93, Ryan Arkadanko, Bulls. 92, Xavier Salas, Nuggets. 91, Trey Caupain, Magic. 90, Chasen Randall, Wizards. 89, Kyle Collinsworth, Raptors. 88, Frank Jackson, Pelicans. 87, Isaiah Briscoe, Magic. 86, Malik Newman, Heat. 85, Jalen Brunson, Mavericks. 84, Cameron Payne, Bulls. 83, Isaiah Cannon, Suns. 82, Landry Shamet, 76ers. 81, Ron Baker, Knicks. 80, Andrew Harrison, Grizzlies. 79, Monte Morris, Nuggets. 78, J.J. Barea, Mavericks. 77, Emmanuel Mudiay, Knicks. 77, Jared Bayless, 76ers. 75, Jose Calderon, Pistons. 74, Devin Harris, Mavericks. 73, DeAnthony Melton, Suns. 72, Tyler Ulis, Warriors. 71, Wade Baldwin, Blazers. 70, Brandon Knight, Rockets. Now we're starting to get into guys that are going to see some playing time. 69, Tyron Wallace, Clippers. 68, Jawan Evans, Clippers. 67, Quinn Cook, Warriors. 66, Shabazz Napier, Nets. 65, Tyus Jones, Timberwolves. 64, Jeremy Lin, Hawks. 63, Michael Carter-Williams, Rockets. 62, Eli Okobo, Suns. 61, Shelvin Mack, Grizzlies. 60, Raul Neto, Jazz. 59, Trey Burke, Knicks. 58, Jerian Grant, Magic. 57, Frank Mason, Kings. 56, Javon Carter, Grizzlies. 55, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Clippers. 54, Ish Smith, Pistons. 53, Seth Curry, Blazers. 52, Derek White, Spurs. 51, Tony Parker, Hornets. 50, Corey Joseph, Pacers. 49, DJ Augustine, Magic. 48, Matthew Dellavedova, Bucks. 47, Derrick Rose, Timberwolves. 46, George Hill, Cavaliers. 45, Raymond Felton, Thunder. 44, Yogi Ferrell, Kings. 43, DeLon Wright, Raptors. 42, Sean Livingston, Warriors. 41, Dante Exum, Jazz. 40, Thomas Satoransky, Wizards. 39, D'Angelo Russell, Nets. 38, Reggie Jackson, Pistons. 37, Frank Ntilikina, Knicks. Now we're starting to get into a lot of the starters and some overqualified backup point guards. 36, Spencer Dinwiddie, Nets. 35, Isaiah Thomas, Nuggets. 34, TJ McConnell, Sixers. 33, Aaron Holiday, Pacers. 32, Trae Young, Hawks. 31, Colin Sexton, Cavaliers. 30, Elfrid Payton, Pelicans. 29, Darren Collison, Pacers. 28, Rajon Rondo, Lakers. 27, Tyler Johnson, Heat. 26, Fred VanVleet, Raptors. 25, Markelle Fultz, 76ers. 24, Milos Teodosic, Clippers. 23, Dennis Schroeder, Thunder. 22, Patrick Beverley, Clippers. 21, Ricky Rubio, Jazz. 20, Eric Bledsoe, Bucks. 19, DeJounte Murray, Spurs. 18, De'Aaron Fox, Kings. 17, Dennis Smith Jr., Mavericks. 16, Chris Dunn, Bulls. 15, Jeff Teague, Timberwolves. 14, Mike Conley, Grizzlies. 13, Goran Dragic, Heat. 12, Jamal Murray, Nuggets. 11, Terry Rozier, Celtics. 10, Kemba Walker, Hornets. 9, Lonzo Ball, Lakers. 8, Kyle Lowry, Raptors. 7, John Wall, Wizards. 6, Damian Lillard, Blazers. 5, Chris Paul, Rockets. 4, Kyrie Irving, Celtics. 3, Ben Simmons, 76ers. 2, Russell Westbrook, Oklahoma City Thunder. And number 1, Stephen Curry, Golden State Warriors. Tough call between Curry and Westbrook for number 1, but I obviously went with Curry, the 2-time MVP, the now 3-time NBA champion. His defense isn't great, but he's on a solid defensive team playing around guys that certainly are better defenders than him, such as Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. But I think Curry is special. His three-point shot is just so fun to watch, and he just is somebody, when he's hot, he's rolling. And Russell Westbrook, the case for him is that he's always ready to go and never misses games unless he's hurt. And same for Curry too, but Westbrook is just, you can make a case more durable than Curry because Curry's been hurt more often than Westbrook. But the case against Westbrook is that Curry is one of the best players on the best team in the league. And that goes against Westbrook, I think. But the case for Westbrook is that he's the best player on his team and not Curry. I think Durant is a better player than Curry. But Westbrook is certainly the best player on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And he's just a triple-double machine. So he obviously gets the number 2 spot for me. That's it for the podcast today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping the AL wildcard game between the A's and the Yankees. I'll make my picks for the NLDS and the ALDS. I'll go over opening night of NHL action. I'll do my NBA shooting guard rankings, Week 6 college bowl game projections, and maybe I'll get into NBA preseason action a little bit as well. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.